Scorpion, win, fatality.
Welcome to the Wicked Gamer and Collector. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. So in today's video, it's basically a package from China. Yes people, it's time for a new game box. And if you read the title, did I find the Pandora box number 7? So we're going to do an unboxing. Before we're going to power it on, we're going to check what's inside the box. The box itself is pretty unique. So this is not from the Pandora box brand, but this is from Gamebox, another company in China. Nevertheless, it's more of the same, but I just want to show you because this thing is a little bit differently than all the other models I've reviewed. Alright, let's take a close look inside. Alright, so what are we having here? We're having the power supply, HDMI cable, manual. Did you see it? No, I think you didn't see it. Manual, VGA cable, USB cable, spare buttons, and another spare button. So this is what we're going to get inside the box. Let's talk about the product itself. Alright, so let's take a close look at the product. And as I'm already telling you, this is something totally different. This is a single player plug and play arcade machine. Yes, in all the previous videos I did different versions, like portable version, but I never had this single player version. So I'm very happy to have this one, so I can finally show it here on the channel. So let's do a little bit of a tour. What are we going to get with this single player? Because this thing is totally different. So the first thing that I'm noticing with this is the button quality and the joystick. So the joystick is made of totally different quality. It's less wiggly, like the previous models I've reviewed. It's a little bit clicky, but I like this. The buttons, yeah, it's like basically all of the buttons I've reviewed. Some are clickish, some are less clickish. Alright, so let's take a close look at the top, because there are some things are different. Here we have the coin tower button, pause, start. But this is something new because we're having a select and PlayStation, and this is for swapping between the D-pad and the analog stick. But these three are only when you're connecting it to a PlayStation console. And keep in mind, they are not talking about the PlayStation 4 most of the time, it's just the older system. So pretty pointless if you ask me. Alright, so here we have the power in, HDMI out, VGA out. This is the headphone jack out. Here we have the volume control, setting button, and 2 USB ports. Some of these mainboards support controllers, but not all of them. But the most epic fail is we're having 2 on and off switches over here. So don't ask me why. Maybe because some of these have light up inside. So they have one wire to the LED strip, another one for the mainboard. But I can already tell you, we're only going to need one of these 2. Because it's a single player, some of these get this serial port that is connected to the main board, so you can attach a second controller if you want to. Alright, so let's take a close look at the bottom. This is something I've never seen before. This is a little hole where you can stick your screwdriver in, simply because if you need to loosen up the ball of the joystick. So that is something that you don't have with the bigger models. Alright, so let's open it up. I'm very curious, what are we going to get? So we're having 3 screws over here and 2 at the back. Right, so let's unscrew the last one. I'm very curious how you can disconnect the top casing from the bottom one. I'm guessing just pulling it. No, this is going to be very annoying. Alright, so we need to lift open up like this, like a door, so we can lift it up. And I can show you what we're going to get in the inside. Oh man, it's tightened up very well. Alright, so there are some things very interesting. Alright, so let's take a close look inside. And what you can see over here, let's talk about this cable. You can see that goes to the side connector. It goes from the right over there all the way up to the EDA cable, and another part of the cable is connected to all the buttons. Now we're going to take a close look at it later. This thing is using a very tiny speaker, only 5 watts, and normally we're having 10 watts, and it's a little bit bigger. So this thing will not be very loud compared with the 2-player versions. And you can see that one of these 2 on and off switches are connected. So if you look at the mainboard itself, I can see that this connection plate is loose. So if you want to upgrade to something else, for example Pandora Box 6, or you want to have a Pandora Games 3D in this thing, there's not going to be a big of an issue. You can just pull out all of the cables and just replace the mainboard. That is something I really love about the Pandora boxes. Alright, so let's take a close look at the buttons and the joystick. So the first thing that I'm noticing, if you compare this with different models, this is new. I have never seen a model like this. Normally we're having these Senwa clones. They did use an adapter, so if you want to replace it, I don't know if you can fix it with a normal Senwa, because if you want to upgrade it, yeah, I think you can adjust the spring inside or just buy better little micro switches. So it is an upgrade, is possible if you want to. And the buttons are just the Chinese buttons, and as you can see over here, this little wire goes through the control board, PCB board, that is for when you're using this thing like an arcade stick itself. So what I really love about this arcade stick, as you can see on the video, the angle that you play is way better than your conventional Pandora box. So I think when you're playing, you need to put your hands in a different location, and you're going to have an angle. And this will be a little bit more comfortable than your normal Pandora box. But still, it's a very high arcade stick. Alright, so let's power on the monitor, because that is very convenient. Let's power on the stick. Ooh, blue light up button, I love it. So the fan inside is not very loud. Ooh, the Pandora Gamebox 7. Did you see that? Oh, they edited the S. Oh man, those guys are naughty. So if you've seen more of my videos, they say this in Pandora Games 7 or 7S, but it's basically a Pandora 3D. So okay, let's do a little tour for the people who are not familiar with the product itself. Alright, so here we have all of the 3D games. So this is the list of 3D games. What are you going to get? You can add new games if you want to. Alright, so we have in the 2D-dimensional games, 2D games. But the problem with these lists are in the Pandora Games 3D, Key 7, etc, etc. Simply because this is one big gigantic mess. As you can see, the list is one big mess, and it's long. It's very long. It's a big variation of games, but we're going to try some a little bit later. And there was a button I can go back to the main menu. Ah, there it is. And then we have the latest, and this just basically remembers what kind of games you played before. Alright, so let's take a close look at the setting menu. You can USB joystick mode. This is basically what you can do is you can set it like a joystick. If you want to, if you're interested. Now I need to press the setting button again. EO testing, this is for button mapping. Okay, I'm very curious, did they map the buttons correctly? Oh, a little thing, I have an 8-button joystick, but it's pretty pointless, as you can see over here, because we don't have 8-button support in the Pandora box. So yeah, it's more like when you're plugging it into your PlayStation. Okay, let's go one player, one coin, and start. Game input mapping. So here you can swap to the controller. So what you can do basically is adding controllers, but keep in mind not all controllers are supported. That's always a gamble, does my controller get supported? And if you want to use it for player 1 and 2 and 3 or 4, that's the only option you have. Pressing this, you can say, okay, I want to use the stick itself like player 1 and want to use player 3 and 4 for the joysticks. But that is a little bit strange because we're having one joystick, so this is messed up. Game list settings. What you can do with this, you can hide the games if you don't want them. So that is something that is very cool. And if you do this, like what I just did, basically did, is just you can't play any games. Yeah, I don't understand why they added 2D game removing, because if you remove them from the main chip or the main SD, you're done. You cannot add them again. Right, so we have the wallpaper, so we can change it to something else. They are basically all of the same if you're having a key 7 or whatsoever. We're going to stick with it. with this version. So if you look at the firmware, this is one of the latest firmware, but as you can see it says 3D 7S338. So a totally different number if you look at all the other versions I have reviewed. Alright, let's try some three-dimensional games first. I must say the internal speaker for a 5 watt is pretty loud.
Welcome to the King of Iron Fist. Hachi Mishima, get ready for the next battle. Round 1. Fight. Round 1. Fight.
Time for some Dead Alive 2 from Sega Mame.
Get ready.
I just want to point out with the Pandora, let's say Pandora 3D, Pandora Touch 3D, the Pandora Key 7 and this one, with the Dreamcast, the arcade version, you can swap to 6x9 or 4x3 if you want to. But it's the only system that supports it. So for the people who want 4x3 for every system, sorry guys, not possible. Let's get frustrated with this game. Alright, let's go. Scorpion. Let's see. I can map the buttons. Block, block.
Scorpion, win.
2, 1, let's go! Alright, so this is very interesting. I have never seen the arcade version of Mortal Kombat 2 on Pandora. The question is, how does it run? This sounds really promising. The volume is a little bit low. This is maximum volume. So that is, I think, really annoying. There is a big difference in sound volumes between the games. You can see that it is not running very smooth, but it is running. That is really funny that it is even running Mortal Kombat 3. That's something the Pandora Box 6 has a problem with. But as said, it is not even on the Pandora Box 6. You can hear that it is not running perfectly. Still having this interference. It sounds way better than the Pandora Box 6. This sounds a little bit weird, but alright, so this is what we're going to get with the Game Box or the Pandora Box 7S. It's similar to the Pandora Key 7. If you didn't see the review, don't forget to check it out. I have one full playlist of all these Pandora Box versions. I do like this stick. The buttons, A buttons, they are pretty pointless if it comes to the Pandora Box itself, but I personally never use these things like an arcade stick. If you want to use an arcade stick, maybe it's a fun thing that they're giving you this extra, but just buy a Mad Catz or an Hori or what you can find for your system. That's way better than this. But if you're looking for a plug and play arcade machine, this thing is pretty cool. The joystick, I like it. It's a big improvement over the other version, and just give the 6 button. We don't need an 8 button. So this is what you're going to get. Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 are supported. Not perfect, but it is available. And that is something I've never seen on the Pandora Box 6. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell. Become one of the Wicked family, and it would be awesome to see you in the next video.